Okay, Archana, you're good to go. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. A very warm good afternoon from the capital of, in India, Delhi. And I'm here with you, Archana. And welcome to this workshop. In fact, job alike session where my intention is not just to speak, but to know from you what are you doing in your schools, in your systems. How are you, connecting your ATLs with MYP assessment? So let's start and okay. Okay, so here are some normal housekeeping norms that we all know. Just to be on the same page, it's always better to be on the same page and start on the right footing. So here it is. Let's go through it. I'll give you a few seconds to go through it. Yeah. Yeah, Vishal, next. Thank you. So a bit about me. I am, Archana Singh. I'm a Delhiite, born and brought up in Delhi, but have not lived in Delhi for past, 26 years. I'm a big, history buff. Here you can see me. That's my, recent photograph. Here you can see me in Sarnath. I, recently visited last weekend. I visited Sarnath and Varanasi. I was there and had a wonderful experience being there. I'm also a singer. At times when I don't when I'm really tired, when I really want to break free, I sing. I'm also an avid reader. I prefer reading nonfiction. One of my most recent, in fact, I haven't let my hands off it. Adam Grant's book, and there are few concepts that I would like to revisit again and again. I'm also a mom of teenager and middle years, so I'm an MYPC in a school in Saigon, which is recently become a continuum school. So a lot of work over there, and that's what I'm going to share it with you. Going back to basics, and I have a special affinity for personal projects. That has my soft corner, and I'm really, really interested in, personal project, because I have been personal project. I started my career as individuals and societies, teacher, and soon became personal project coordinator in both my schools. And my students and my team did not let me down. We had stupendous results, and I'm really, really proud of it. Okay, next. Okay, so let's just start off, because we have, already, I know this is the holiday time and you have taken time out of your very busy, schedule. So let's get on to the question. In fact, you can unmute yourself and you can speak. We will take 2 speakers, and the rest of you can please use chat option to share your thoughts. Do you think skills are an important part of assessment? And if you think yes, I'm sure you all think yes. Why do you think it is an important part of assessment? Yeah, Neha, do you want to speak? Do you want to unmute yourself and share your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. This also helps us, assessments help us understand what we have learned and where we're heading towards.
Right.
So it's a great tool for us to assess, how to understand where are we.
Yeah, so, sure. So my question is, why skills are important? Skills are, as the as we see the assessment now, assessment is not just about grades. Assessment is not just about what have we planned and what kind of tests, how beautifully have we mastered our test, how beautifully have we, made the questions. But skills are an inherent part of assessment. How do you think skills are an inherent part of assessment? My question to you is this.
Yeah,
anyone?
Go ahead, Ms. Ashu.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Ashu.
So skills are an important part of the teaching learning. Whatever we are learning, we need to assess that. And whatever we assess, we need to learn that as a feed forward for our students to build the competencies, right kind of competencies for such a volatile word that we keep talking about, and we're talking about 21st skills. And if skills are not embedded and not an integral part of learning, that I don't think we are taking it in the right direction. So skills are extremely important, as part of something that is going to be an ongoing process and help us to achieve our learning goals.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Ashu. Is there anyone else who wants to share? I think we have. Okay, so thank you so much, Ashu. Yes, in fact, this is the culture that we need to bring in. This is the culture that we need to bring in our schools, in our systems, where we need to get over these grades. And we need to educate our parents as well, that grades is not the end of the road. What we are trying to do in our classrooms, what we are trying to do in our MYP classrooms is to build on the skills so that students are empowered themselves and they take their own they take their own responsibility. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that wonderful view. Next slide, please. Thank you so much, Vishal, for being there. I just, engaged you full time.
Go ahead. No worries.
Okay, so let's get back to basics. We all are trained. We all have done our degrees and certificates in education. We know very well the slide that we are seeing over here. Assessment for learning, assessment as learning, and assessment of learning. But my question to you is, which type of assessment requires maximum planning and time? Please feel free to unmute yourself and speak. You can raise your hand and unmute yourself and start sharing.
May I just
go ahead. Please go ahead.
I think one of the most challenging thing that the educators feel is how we help students to self-regulate their learning and self-monitor. And continuous process where a child is able to reflect back on the feedback given and work towards it. And that's a continuous back and forth process. Of course, planning is already done by the teacher, but how do we tweak the plan? What kind of changes we need to bring in? So according to me, the assessment as learning is the most challenging part, because usually in our education system, we kind of focus on some formatives. We look at the gaps, we try to bridge that gaps without realizing sometime whether the child has been able to achieve their own personalized goals, keeping in mind their individuality and the differences, and how we bring that kind of personalized teaching and learning environment in order to reach to our the assessment of learning. So assessment of learning. I think that's the most underrated part of assessment. We usually salute to you, Ashu. I think you are being trained as
as an able, MYP, teacher. By the way, what do you teach?
Yeah, I teach science, and
Okay.
I'm still on the journey. It's my first year as a MYP educator.
Perfect. 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 So yes, assessment of learning is the most, underrated part. We usually focus on our, beautiful looking summative assessments, and we try to take our students there. But a large part of the success of our assessment for learning, rests upon assessment as learning and assessment of learning. So all the formatives that we do, all the planning that we do in between, how do we cater to the individual needs of our students? Is extremely important, and that is where comes in the ATL culture. How are we building the skills of our students so that they are able to successfully and independently go through that assessment, and do not worry about anything else. Just do their best and be confident in going in for any kind of assessments. So yes, thank you so much. Is there anyone else who wants to share their view? Anyone else? Okay, no one. Nobody's. So we'll go to the next slide now. Yeah. So ATL and its integration into our curriculum and our planning is mandatory, is an integral part of how we plan our curriculum. So we cannot just keep it on side, and we cannot just overlook it. But it's a good practice that we make it more explicit in our planning. And this is what I'm going to share it with you. How can you frame your task-specific clarifications, and how your task-specific clarifications will have a definite and clear, view of how ATLs can be, put over there. So as you can see on the screen, there is a definite indication of ATLs in these 4 documents, and you can use it. Those who are new to IB should know that these are the most important IB documents that you can find on PRC. Subject guides are the Bibles, and every subject guide has specific examples of how you can use ATLs in your subjects. Next, please. Yeah. Vishal, next slide. Yeah, thank you so much. Again, I'm here. Okay. All right. So just again, some sharing, because it's a job alike, and let's see what are your best practices. How have you used ATLs in your assessment? If you can just go through what have you done in your classroom. Now here is a grid. This is what we usually do in our classrooms, in our MYP classroom. So if you can share your best practices in very short, it will be great for all of us to learn from each other. So just choose any or any one or 2 of them, and please start sharing. Anyone?
Archana, let me share 1 or 2 thoughts, perhaps from my end.
Okay.
From my experience, before I just to give a bit of encouragement to our audience as well.
Yeah.
So from my end, what I've done is I've used ATLs the most explicitly in interdisciplinary assessments because it crossed a lot of skills, and there was right from research, self-management, and many other skills that crossed over, basically. So yeah, that's my take on it so far.
Okay. I think we lost you.
So I'll just quickly summarize. The most explicit ATL skills that I came across is from interdisciplinary assessments, because there were a lot of skill set that crossed over with each other. And that was my take overall.
I will share what we did recently we had taken our whole bunch of MYP students to, for 4 days to week without the walls. And we had, created this beautiful, reflection booklet where the students thought, and they wrote about what did they feel great about the day and what was not that good. So 2 basic questions. And at the end of the trip, they had to write, what was their learning and one skill that they learned in the process. So, so the number 5, option over here, self-assessment and, reflection. So it was a wonderful opportunity for us to get our students to know better. So you see, it's because MYP is such a curriculum. It is not just going into the classroom and teaching the students. It is knowing them and getting to understand the whole paradigm and the culture from where they come from and what and how well will they learn. So a Week Without the Walls was a wonderful opportunity for all of us to get to know each other. And in fact, we did this, task not only with the students, but we also did this task. And there was a, circle time every day where we used to share these thoughts. So it was a wonderful opportunity for all of us to know more about each other.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Archana, because it can really give us a bit of a different skills set altogether. And I think Smita has got something to share with us. Go ahead, Smita.
Yeah. Yes, Smita.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Smita.
So
Hi.
We don't, basically I look after the DP. So from DP's point of view, I'd like to add something to it, and because we also do something similar here. So in the DP, do something similar. So as you were talking about, we also have self-reflection where students kind of assess themselves after every term. So they kind of map themselves like, this is where we stand in terms of like, suppose research skills. So this is what we have been on. So we have like strands created. So we have selected the ones which go with the assessments in the DP. So like different internal assessments, and let's say what works well. Those are the specific strands that we picked up, and we have like put it up in a document where they kind of benchmark them every term. So here we were in terms of one particular skill, like able to analyze information or being able to search information. And then they move forward from there. So this is where we were like at the big level, and then we have moved forward. And what are the examples that also they quote in terms of why they are saying that they are forward. So this is something that we regularly do.
Yeah.
In addition to that, also the criteria related assessment also works well, because again, like internal assessment and all, they have criteria where they're looking at a particular strand and where is able to use it. So they're also kind of, they evaluate themselves and teachers evaluate them. This is what we majorly focus on in the DP.
Yeah. And there is a wonderful tool on ManageBag. If you're using ManageBag, portfolio section of ManageBag has number of questions, leading questions which kind of help all our students to set their goals, like academic goals and their personal learning goals as well. So that's again a wonderful tool over there for all of you can explore. If you haven't explored it, please go and explore it. It's if you're using ManageBag, it just passes on to the next academic year. So portfolio of the particular student keeps on building up, and they know from which skill did they start. And in fact, you can what you can do is you can plan it well, and you can tell your students to how to integrate ATLs over there, and what kind of language can they use over there, so that they themselves can monitor from where they started, and what strategies do they need to use to make further progress. Thank you so much, Smita, for sharing that. That was very useful. Yeah, next slide, please. Okay, so I teach individuals and societies. I mean, I don't teach as much now, but this is what an example for all the ones who are new to IB MYP. So the assessment task can be where students are required to choose a significant historical event and conduct in-depth, research. Now, this is a generic task, but what skills will they need here is definitely definitely the research skills and the communication skills. Now, what you can do is further to make students understand how can they achieve this. They divide. Now, this is what is the summative task. Now, what you can do is you can have number of formative tasks which can lead up to this summative task. And when you like, for an example, you can ask your students to choose one source, one book source, or one video source, and you can just plan each formative task and give them the rubric based on that task. Can we just go to the next one? I'll show them how. Yeah. So this is an example of, again, very generic one, because the task that I gave you example from requires students to present their thoughts. So it is a part of communication skill. You can frame frame the rubric, you can create a specific rubric, and one of the style is this. This can be given to the students for peer observation or self-assessment, so that they know where do they stand. And once you do this, it's easy for you to give the feedback, and feedback is such an important component. Now, when we use ATL skills in our tasks, explicitly, it gives us opportunity to give the feedback and give specific feedback to each our student. Now, because all our students, there can be some problems which can be common to all our students, but mostly there are specific proper problems, and this kind of self-assessment rubric gives us the opportunity to come up with a specific plan for our students. And it is such a wonderful experience for us to be the part of their a learning journey. Yeah, next please. Okay, so here is one more example of how self-assessment rubric can be made. I have given you some sources on the Padlet page, which I'll be sharing, which Vishal has already shared with you on chat, in the chat box, and I'll be sharing at the end of the presentation as well. You will know some of the sources where you can where there are examples of good self-assessment rubric. And it's always a good practice to make a bank of rubrics yourself. It is such a useful part of the learning journey. Yeah. So next please. Next is the task-specific clarification.
Yeah,
yes.
Archana, I think Ashu has got a question to ask.
Yeah. Ashu, yes. Go ahead, Ashu.
So Thank you, Archana. I think it's making a lot of sense to me now to look at how we can design the self-assessment rubric, because this has always been my challenge. Whenever we are creating any kind of a task or a formative assessment where we are aligning it with any criteria, even though children are aware of the skills, the ATL skills that we are focusing on, but somewhere over a period of time, it gets dissolved. I mean, the entire focus becomes more on the criteria rather than the ATL skills. If it is happening organically, good enough. If it is not, then we are yet to find a way out. My question here is that since it's a self-assessment rubric, or I can say in a simple word, like a checklist, student kind of continue to see where the child is, how does it go back into the criteria when we are assessing? For example, if I'm assessing my student on criteria D, reflecting on the impact of science, now, and the ATL skill that is being assessed as communication or maybe media literacy. So how do we bring that in their summative? I mean, when it comes to the final reporting, and where does the ATL skills fit in there? I mean, I'm just confused, or is it for a monitoring and self-evaluation only?
Okay, so there are two things. It's actually how your school system plans the how ATL skills should be told to the parents. But as you can see on the screen right now over here, this is an example of task specific clarification. Now what happens is that what are we aiming at? We are aiming at the success of our student. Now, when we give continuous feedback on ATL skills, and when the students have these self-assessment rubric in hand, the peer assessment, rubric in hand, and you also have the rubric in hand, you are giving them the feedback, and they are continuously working towards making it better. Now, what we need to do is we need to create a culture of building the skills, and we need to make our students and the whole cohort understand that ATL skill is not something which is in a separate bag. But if you read the assessment criteria, it is a part of assessment criteria, because the more you work on skills, better integrated it will be in your assessment criteria. This is what, now if you look at the example of task specific clarification here, and if you look at the first ATL skill, which is what you said, communication skill, effectively communicate historical information in a clear and organized manner. Now this clearly connects to strand 2 of assessment criteria A of individuals and societies. Now, if the student is effectively working on it and giving you continuous, improvement, and you are giving the feedback, the child's success level will definitely increase. Okay, and reporting is definitely, we give grades. In managed bag and in schools we do give grades, but we need to, when we give the feedback comment to them, when we give the summative comment to them, we can talk how in terms of skills the child has grown from one level to another. This is what I think IB is I'm sure IB is focusing on, that we gradually in our schools we need to bring in this ATL culture, and get away from grading. Grading is just a small part of the whole learning process. Assessment is not about grading. Assessment is about feedback, and assessment is about skill building. And this is what is all about, integration of ATLs in our assessment. So it's a very, very important part of it. And I think new teachers like you and others should not talk about grading as much, but we should always speak about what can we do to improve our skills so that we reach 7 and 8. So this is all comes hand in hand. Did I answer your question, Ashu?
Yeah, I'm just kind of still finding the way out. And I completely agree. You know, we are talking about the skill enhancement and development. But I always, then it becomes very important that what kind of ATL skill you're choosing for a particular task or a assessment, because it needs to organically help the child to to attain their learning goals, and of course eventually feed into their grades. Because what happens, sometimes I see my child's knowledge and understanding is in place, he is able to process the data, evaluate, but when it comes to collaboration, working in groups, and that's kind of because there are group conflicts happening, and that's not really helping him or her to achieve that, and that's where the struggle begins.
So you know what, so here comes the formative assessments. Now, when you plan your task, when you plan your unit 10 task, you are taking your students towards that unit 10 task. Now, what you can do is, if you think that some of the skills are missing, what you can do is you can plan some specific tasks based on that skills, and have those skills not in the implicit manner, but in an explicit manner. So talk more about what can you do, or what can be done to improve that skill. Now, for an example, in my class, I have this problem of the students are not able to know the right kind of source. So they don't know how to know the biases there. So we had specific, I had created a plan where we went through this skill for over a week. So 4 classes we spent on this, knowing what can we do to know the biases in the sources, and what kind of sources should be used. So if you feel that there is certain gap, I know we in a planning we don't get that much of time, but maybe 1 or 2 classes you can. Or also it's a requirement of the curriculum that you explicitly and implicitly teach ATL skills. So explicitly one ATL skill can be taught in detail, which means not just the complete ATL skill, but take one strand of it, the ATL skill, and teach it explicitly. In fact, Ashu, we can get in touch with each other after this session, and I can give you example of how do I plan my unit, and how do I focus on ATL skills specifically, and how the teachers are doing it in my school. It's a learning process. We are not yet there, but yes, we just try to do it. Next slide, please.
I think, Archana, thanks so much. Just a quick one from Smita. Smita, go ahead, please.
Okay, I think you have time, because I just wanted to add to what Archana said, and like in our school, though, we have MYP in our school, so majorly on the ATL skills in the itself. So what we have done is what we have done is we have created a document where you have the major strands that work on. Corresponding to that, we have added all the activities that could be conducted in order to work on those strands. The activities could be done explicitly when you're not focusing on the content, or on that. And similarly, what you were saying, you can plan activities where you can somehow assess the student, not for a point of a you can see the student is able to perform in that particular strand which you have been working on. So like ask teachers in a plan in terms of an ATL activity that they plan to work on, and then after that conduct which they can provide as an evidence also, where they've seen that this particular happened or not happened, because we also want to see the impact of that particular activity, or that particular progress that you want to see is happening or not happening. So because it's time to work on the ATL skills, I think something that could be done where you're continuously working on and then seeing whether the progress is happening.
Absolutely, Smita, and that's where the ATL tracker, which is again a very important document in all the schools, especially in I'm in MYP. We have this ATL tracker which all the subject groups are required to keep, and as you said that we have bank of activities, and that's why I say that if all the teachers can create this bank of activities and contribute to it and have rubrics that they think are suitable for those bank of activities, and these rubrics are definitely going to help them in the success of their task, their unit and task. Thank you so much, Smita, for sharing your thoughts. Okay. Yeah, horizontal planning. Yes. Yeah, we'll go to quickly slide 16. Yeah. Yeah. So this is
sorry, Archana, very sorry. Is it the ATL tracker that you're talking about, or the slide?
Yes, ATL tracker.
ATL.
I was talking about.
Great.
Yes. I think the voice is there's a static lag somewhere. I'm missing out some of the things that yeah. So no, the previous slide, a very quick go through. No, the previous one. Yeah.
Is it this one, an example from?
Yeah. So this is just to sum up what I was saying, that this is how you can create your task specific clarification. This is something which will be useful for and simple for students to know, and and understand where they are in terms of skills and how these skills are connected to their assessment criteria. So to all the teachers over here and to all the teachers who will be hearing me afterwards, it is very important for us to simplify the assessment criteria for our students and make them understand that skills are integral part of it. And once you create this kind of document, it will be easy for them to know and understand how skills are important. Next slide, please, Vishal. Yeah. So this is, I came across this beautiful example by Stephen Taylor. I have shared this link on the Padlet page again. Have a look at it. I know all the schools have their own way of tracking, ATLs. We also have a system in place, but have a look at it, and this will give you a very good integration of ATL into the curriculum. Now, how can you integrate these various ATL skills into how we learn, how we make learning happen in our schools? Thank you so much. Next again is Lenny's. Now Lenny has been instrumental from the time I started my IB journey. Lenny has been my unknown mentor until I knew her, and then I came to know about her. She has come with wonderful documents, and this is one of the documents which she keeps adding, because she is also extremely passionate about IB, MYP, and ATL and personal projects. So this is she has added some more stuff to it. Have a look at it. Again, I have shared this link to those who are old would definitely know her, because she is a stalwart over here. Please go through it. Now, again, we have in our school, we have created ATL tracker based on her ideas, and it's working quite well. And in fact, I would just like to share 2 meetings that we have in our academic year. The first meeting where we ask our our teachers to pick a lot on what specific ATL skills are they going to work in their subject groups. So if I specifically mix the ATL skills and make it double. So if if the two subject groups have same ATL skills, we ask them to trade with each other, and trade and tell them why you need this ATL skills more than the other, subject group. So the idea is to cover as many ATL skills, and to orient our students with the different skills in our subject groups. Now this doesn't mean that we don't teach other skills, but we explicitly focus on skills that the subject groups pick in this whole exercise. It works very well in our school, and yeah, it is really an exciting time when they trade ATL skills with each other, and they try to all the subject groups, like they try to show how the skill is more important to us than to you. Yeah. Okay, so I think we are towards the end. Next slide, please. Yeah, so I will be summing up our session by looking into the IB mission statement. And this is where it is, I'm as the leader, as the new leader, this is my second year as, I'm as the, middle years program coordinator. I have taught, as I told you, personal projects before, but as I'm in MYPC, I strongly feel that it's important to get over the culture of grades, numbers. It's important to make our school, community understand the true nature of MYP assessment. And that will come only when we focus more on creating ATL culture. Now, ATL culture is extremely important, and whatever is important should be planned and embedded in our curriculum explicitly and more carefully. So it's very important that we start thinking in terms of and one one more thing that we need to know and and understand it, that small steps. We cannot do all the ATL skills at one go, but whatever we pick up, we should do it in depth. It is very, very important, so that the students are confident. Students, if I have already done my presentation skills, skills with one group of students, they should be comfortable and they should be prepared to come up with their thoughts. So it's very important for us to be part of this, mission statement, where we are responsible for, developing and inquiring, knowledgeable and caring young people, so that they are active, and so they are active and lifelong learners, and so they become an active members of this global society. It's very, very important. And here we come to the end. I would love to hear your thoughts at the end of it. And here is my Padlet link, which Vishal has already shared with you in the chat box. You can get in touch with me. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'll be very happy to help you with whatever I know.
Thank you so much, Archana. It was a wonderful session, and
thank you so much.
Thought and how we carried back to our class.
Yeah, see, the whole idea of the job alike is not what I know. I mean, of course, what I know I will share with you, but it's the sharing of best practices, and learning from each other is something that we are aiming at, and let's look forward, and please continue sharing your best practices. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay,
thank you. Thanks, Archana. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Vishal.
Thank you. Take care.
And I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.
The recordings will be available very soon to everyone. So we'll keep in touch. Thank you. Thank you very much.